This podcast is brought to you in conjunction with Hustro.com, a leading construction management software tool.
We got a knock on the door from the chief of police in Washington, D.C. to reinvent the 911 emergency phone call here in the States. So I had to come up with a way to, when a citizen's compromised in a tough situation, maybe it's a fire, emergency medical, whatever it might be to be able to tap into the cameras now that we all carry 3 to 5 cameras in our pocket everywhere we go. So came up with a way that we could send an SMS text message while you're on the phone, and you could tap it and we would instantly get into the cameras and we can stream that video to the emergency vehicle, fire, police, whatever, so they can see what they're driving into. It's called situational awareness.
Hello, everybody. Gavin Coyle. I'm the Gaffer podcast back again. And we've got a great guest today. His name is James Hatfield. James is going to talk to us about the digital side of construction again. I know we've had episodes in here in the past, but always interested in getting a tech guy on to give us other perspectives of how it can be used in the workplace and how it can change your profitability, your efficiency, your quality, your safety, and all the good stuff around a successful business. James is the Chief Revenue Officer, and it's of LiveSwitch.com, which is an international software business. And he's not just that, but from talking to James in the pre-chat chat, we can go deeper into a lot of other topics that is close to his heart that I resonate a lot with. But to kick things off, James, congratulations. We made it to the show. It's great to have you on board. How are things and whereabouts are you?
Thanks for having me, Gavin. Grateful to be on the show. Excited for what we're going to talk about. I'm on the East Coast of the United States, specifically in Asheville, North Carolina. It's not where our headquarters is, but I'm in the mountains. So, I've got Irish blood flowing, so you'll like that, Gavin. One of my daughters is a pure redhead. So I come by it honestly. So I'm grateful to, maybe speak to some Irish roots in the future. But for now, we'll talk about contracting and living our life on a ladder and how we improve our business.
If you don't mind, you have a bit of a Viking head on you. You have the beard going on, the whole lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, with the last name like Hatfield, it's a big part of American history. We have this thing called the Family Feud, the Hatfields and McCoys. And if you go to the History Channel, Kevin Costner played my great uncle. So it's part of American history. And so the Viking blood is deep, and I can just will out a beard in no time.
Well, before we get back into the whole ancestry, tell me about yourself. You have a sort of an entrepreneurial background. I think I get a sense from that, maybe from your father. And how did you get into the construction industry, James?
I was born to be in it, I think. My dad built the house we lived in, a blue-collar guy. My grandfather, actually his dad died young, my grandfather's dad, so he had to quit school at 16 and go get a job at a tire store. So the family dream for me was to own and operate a contracting company, and I owned and operated painting companies, power washing companies, and had multiple crews, lived my life on a ladder. And the thing that happened to me, though, is you become an accidental business owner. Right? I've got staff and payroll and all those things. So, but that's what led me on a journey to technology. I never thought I'd ever be in technology. I thought I was going to be like my family and just run my businesses. And I love taking care of our community, and I love working with my hands. And I thought I'd be doing that forever. But things change,
Yeah, like from the power washing sort of business, is there any lessons learned out of that type of business in terms of where you are today in an entrepreneurial way? I'm just curious in terms of, obviously the whole setting up that business. It's kind of a nice little business to run, but it has a capacity issue, I think, does it? You can just get so far, and then you just, there's only so many assets you can actually, put out there before you start getting into maybe a franchise model, or it goes beyond you. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, extremely fair to say. You've got to make yourself redundant, build into other folks and hand off those responsibilities to make sure customers are getting taken care of and the bills are getting paid. But what I've learned from my contracting business has helped me create some of the fastest growing companies in the world. The last company that we did was the problem that I had. So I would go to the accountant, bookkeeper, and they would be speaking English to me, and I would not understand a word coming out of their mouth. I just didn't know, and it made me nervous actually as a business owner. I was like, I really don't think that's good. So while I'm running my companies, I put myself to business school, and this was 20 plus years ago, so I'm dating myself, but that really helped me and changed the trajectory of everything for me. It ended up happening to where I met a business partner who was running landscaping companies, and he had built and invented this technology. He was finishing his business degree as well, where you could take the income statement and balance sheet, run it through the system. This was before AI was on anybody's lips, and it would, in plain language, explain to me as a business owner where I'm doing well and where I wasn't. And I was like, "This is the problem I have. I love this." He's like, "You want to sell this?" I was like, "Well, maybe if I come down from the ladder and we can give it a shot." Because during the weekends, I would go and I was our number one sales guy, right? I would go and book all the jobs. If we didn't have enough, I'd go and even knock on doors if I had to, and I did, because I needed to take care of my staff. But what ended up happening is I joined that, and we were in an incubator. It was just me and a couple people, and we ended up scaling that business to Inc. 500. We were one of the fast growing companies in the states, and then we exited with KKR, and it's a multi-billion-dollar company now. So that really worked out, over the moon actually, but it changed everything. But and then from there we got into nonprofit work, and then from there we bought another company, and I'm in technology again. I can't stay away from technology anymore. But I've got to be with the trades. I've got to be with construction. I've got to be with my people, so to speak,
With your tribe.
with my tribe. Absolutely.
Wow, that seems such a wild journey. Did you hold on to much stock, if you don't mind me asking you, on the first business that you flipped?
Don't have any. Don't even have a dollar left.
Wow.
KKR took everything, which is great. Allowed us to get into nonprofit work. We started inmates to entrepreneurs. We go into the jails. We teach folks how to run a business, and it even resulted in an ABC television show called Free Enterprise. So we hire folks out of that program, and it's been a joy helping people with second chances. And I think from there, though, it's like, well, and I started some other nonprofits, and I'm on boards of other nonprofits, but I think there's some blood in me that wants to just get on the offense, and so we bought a company about 5 years ago now called LiveSwitch, but it's a 16-year-old company we bought out of Vancouver, Canada, and
Yeah,
we're scaling that, and now we're another one of the fastest growing softwares in the world with
yeah.
what we're doing. I know we'll get into it, but it's been a journey from tradesman to tech nerd.
Tech nerd, investor, and entrepreneur, and serial investor. The jail scenario, in terms of going into the jails and finding some real gems, as people, and I don't want to glamorize the drug trade, but a lot of people would have said in the past that some of the best salespeople you can get is dealers that come out of jail, because they could just hustle and you know like I don't want to sort of glamorize it for anybody or for any reason, but number one, was that a not for profit enterprise? Okay. So how did you get in and convince the jails that this was a good idea and that you weren't going to, you know, cause cause problems, if you want, for the institution? Like how did that whole sort of approach, and sort of how did you know insert yourself into that sort of industry, considering you might have been going in cold?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't hurt when you have business degrees and a fast growing company and a couple bucks to run together, right? And a little bit of cash. So I think the need was clear, the mission statement was clear, and then just networking with the right people, and then starting small, just like anything, start small and scale it from there. And then the results that it showed were second to none. And then now it's self perpetuating. The board is all folks that have graduated from the program, and it's self sustaining. And now the way for folks that have been in that situation to give back. So it's been a joy to watch, and that we foresee it going on henceforth. I love building, and I have other nonprofits that you build from nothing, hand off to the right people who will really own it and run it. And that's kind of what we do. We grow things, we make ourselves redundant, and we scale.
I love that, because I see a lot of, and I can see a lot of a change, because I have a bit of a background in corporate governance, and where boards don't change, and it becomes stale and becomes a talk shop where people are kind of happy to sit and take some sort of remuneration or whatever out of it, but it doesn't move the business forward. And love the fact that you said you make yourself redundant, because ultimately you're looking to hand it over to a group who are going to leave it in a better place than you left it, and then they leave it in a better place to the next person, and so on and so forth.
That's it. I mean, that's how you scale. I mean, we've scaled some of the fastest growing companies in the world through redundancy. When you're racing towards the bottom, it's different than racing towards the top to get a comfortable chair. I don't believe in that. I like to build things out, hand them off to people, and then get out of the way, and transfer that. There's a wonderful book called "Making Money is Killing Your Business." I'd highly recommend anybody listening to this to do that. It helps with freedom mapping, this redundancy that we're talking about. And everyone likes to talk about working on your business rather than in your business, but you will really put their money where their mouth is, because it does require you to hand off responsibility and power. A lot of people like to hang on to that stuff, but that is exactly what could be killing yourself. If you find, like, I ask owners and operators, like, can you take a month away from your business? Like, literally, not even look at it, touch it, phone it in, anything. That's a problem.
That's a big problem, and it's a lot of the demographic that listen to our show or watch the show on YouTube or whatever, that they are so entrenched in the business, and I understand that too, because they've poured their blood, heart, sweat into the business, and they just don't want to hand up that reins to somebody else, because they're the ones that get the phone calls every day from the client, and they feel that, it would be disingenuous and not me to sort of say, well, don't use my number anymore unless you really have to.
And I understand all that. It makes sense, but I would think, in the maturity scale of a business, in the beginning, yes, you wear tons of hats, then you start to wear less hats and less hats. And then now you're going to get to a point where there's one last hat to take off. And that's,
Yeah,
being the head honcho, right?
yeah,
So you need to start making yourself redundant. And especially if you ever want to exit your business and sell your business in the future, being a key man is a problem. Like, if you have to be part of the business, you can't sell the business,
no,
right? If you ever want to get out of it in the future, you need to think about your future self. And that's really hard to do when you're in the middle of it. You're trying to make payroll, you're trying to make happy customers, you can't, those sleepless nights, those long weekends, those long days. And then you listen to a podcast, someone who gets on here and tells you, oh, work on your business, not in your business. And oh, it's so easy for me to say. But here's the thing, you've got to start with, try that book that I just told you.
yeah,
Try a couple new things. Start small. One baby step. How do you eat the whole whale one bite at a time, right?
yeah,
And start to hand off those responsibilities one piece at a time by documenting your process,
yeah,
right? And then giving that process to someone not named yourself, and for them to improve upon it and let it be a living document. And that way, as you hire new people, all of that documentation is done. You're ready to go. It's evolving. It's ever changing. And then you're removing yourself out of the business. And now you can really work on your business and in your business. But it takes time and a lot of it. But you need to be diligent and spend some time freedom mapping.
yeah. I think there's a great saying that sticks with me as well. Is, um, build your business as if you want to sell it, even if you don't want to sell it. And what does that look like? And I think if you can model out your business in that way, reading books like that, um, regardless if you never want to sell it, the tools and the structure and the sustainability of the business will be in a good place.
I mean, I would say it's irresponsible not to. I think it's a selfish thing not to, because you want to create legacy and lifetime, like where you can, if something happens to you physically, financially, health, what happens to your staff? Like, look at them all. Because you are failing to hand off responsibility and get out of the business, you are failing them if something were to happen to you. Key man problem can take down the whole ship. And that's just, I think it bodes to our pride, and more than anything else. It's our pride that holds us back. And so you got to check yourself, look in the mirror, and work towards that, because your future staff, your future self, your future everything will thank you for that if you can do it. And not many people can.
Yeah. Again, I'd like to play devil's advocate on that again, and probably in a way I can see where you hear these people saying, "Oh, well, you need to grow your business and you need to sort of bring in the staff and you need to take on extra staff, like extra staff, more responsibility, extra staff, more wages going out, less profit in the business. And you can kind of see where people kind of build a lifestyle business for themselves and go, nah, actually, I'm going to happy taking a nice, clean, net profit for myself where I'm guaranteed that every year, year on year. And look, if the company fizzles out over time, I'm okay. My bills are paid. I've had good holidays. The kids have been brought up in college. They've flown the nest. I've been able to give them a bit of money in the background and stuff like that. Why would I want to sort of go and, put 100 grand on the table in wages that, when I can put that 100 grand into pension and into sort of, independent lifestyle?
Yeah, I don't think adding more staff is a solution to everything. In fact, it's only responsible growth and where you're experiencing staff growth. And I like to challenge everybody listening where that staff comes from. It doesn't always have to be local, it can be international. You can look and do things that will really help you. But, throwing more staff on top of where you don't have process, where you don't have things figured out, actually will just make a bigger mess. So that is not the answer at all, actually. Eventually, though, when you have process tight, things are able to be made redundant, then it does make a lot of sense to start doing that because you do need redundancies because sometimes people quit on you or leave. And, it's the old Boy Scout saying, because I spend a lot of time in the woods, 2 is 1 and 1 is none, where if you go into the woods with 2 lighters or 1 lighter, light a fire, you might as well think you're going to a none, right? So you pack 2 lighters of things that are very important. Again, we don't want to have too much staff, but we have a redundancy plan through process mapping, training, SOPs, things of that nature that allow you responsible growth.
I agree. I will say that my own business has been built on a lean model of outsource as much as you can for tasks that are not of high value, and then concentrate on the direct employees with high value ticket items that that are being worked on that have a real return on investment. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I learned for our growth story was we were able to keep the core nucleus of the strong A players on point and on focus to build out these roadmaps and to build out the structure and the software and everything else that went with it. And anything that got in the way that was either not your core competency or low ticket item was outsourced.
Are you looking to spend less time on paperwork and more time making things happen on site? Hustro.com is the simplest construction management software out there. Streamline inspections, defect reporting, and all your project documentation all in one app. With Hustro.com, contractors are seeing 75% less time on inspections and reports, 47% faster corrective actions, and almost a third quicker decision making. Hustro.com is the simplest software to manage construction projects, period. Level up your site efficiency today with Hustro.com.
Oh, yeah. And now with technology, and we're going to get into it here, with live video, recorded video, and AI, you can do a lot of things when we're talking about putting the right people in the right seats on the bus, and maximizing not just your top line, but your bottom line. A lot of people love top line. Man, are we addicted to top line growth? But there's plenty of companies I've seen that have a great top line, but they're burning cash, right? So they're not focused on that bottom line and their expenses and what you're talking about becoming a little bit more lean, thoughtful, and really what's under the hood. It's not just, but top line growth is very sexy, isn't it?
What's in my pocket? And so let's get into it though. Let's talk about the efficiencies and how we can improve efficiencies within the workplace in today's environment, James. And no better placed than yourself to talk about that. So where do you want to kick off? Where's the area that you want to first make an impact on?
Let's start with a story. So we bought this company 5 years ago, 16-year-old company. A lot of people listening have seen and used our stuff. You had no idea it was us. We're kind of under the hood of lots of cool stuff. Like for sports entertainment, as an example, here in the States, we did the Super Bowl the last 3 years. You go to MLB ballpark and watch professional baseball. If you scan a QR code, they put you on the Jumbotron. Same with some soccer, not proper football. I know, uh, events. I get it. The Americans on. So we powered all of that. And what ended up happening is we got a knock on the door from the chief of police in Washington, D.C. to reinvent the 911 emergency phone call here in the States. So I had to come up with a way to, when a citizen's compromised in a tough situation, maybe it's a fire, emergency medical, whatever it might be, to be able to tap into the cameras now that we all carry 3 to 5 cameras in our pocket everywhere we go. So came up with a way that we could send an SMS text message while you're on the phone, and you could tap it, and we would instantly get into the cameras, and we can stream that video to the emergency vehicle, fire,
Wow.
uh, police, whatever, so they can see what they're driving into. It's called situational awareness. And so I was wondering, well, who else could use this? And so I met with the guy, 20 years in the FBI, taking care of the Tennessee Titans. That's the NFL football team, and
Yeah, I know.
he takes care of a huge arena. And I'm showing him our response system for emergencies. And he said, "Hey, James, I have a really dumb question to ask you." I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "This arena that I take care of is huge. And sometimes we have little things happen, like the trash cans fall over across the arena. And I've got one of my team members over there. Can I just text them and they can just show me when the trash cans fall over so I don't have to hop in my golf cart? Because that would help me a lot." And that's when I had a light bulb moment because I used to use, if you remember, Nextel walkie-talkies. I always use those in my business to talk to any of my, you know, foremen, my team.
Yeah.
I don't ever know what happened to that technology, but I was like, it's like the Nextel walkie-talkie, but with our eyes. And so we got back into the trades and we started, we took off. I mean, we're under the hood of the Service Titans, the Jobbers, the HubSpots, and we are
Yeah.
live video because very few companies in the world do live video where you can send an SMS text, tap it, and instantly see what your subcontractor, superintendent, whatever they're seeing. And then a project manager now can skip the trip on the train, the truck, or airplane
Yeah.
and see what's going on, and then explain to their customer why their change order timeline got changed, the budget got changed, and now we can put AI behind all of it.
To write out a transcript and to give you a full report and give you sort of recommendations and tell you who's doing what and what actions people are taking. Sorry for taking the words out of your mouth.
No, you are, and it can do even more. Like, that's just starter material. As an example, in my home 2 weeks ago, I had a HVAC technician come over because my HVAC unit, the drain pan was full of water. There was condensation, it was dripping. And as he came down to look at it, I said, "Hey, I want to send you a text and act like an ignorant customer. Go in there and just explain it." In 30 seconds, he said, "Hey, there's water in the water pan. There's condensation here and it's not draining." We put it through AI, a 30-second video, and we had a prompt that said HVAC diagnosis. It said, "Hey, with a full water pan and condensation, you most likely have a plug in your drain line. Loosen up your drain line. There's most likely algae in the drain line, and that'll clear it." He did that. Algae flew everywhere. His jaw was on the floor. And he said, "Can I buy stock in your company?" But it could be for anything that you can imagine. It is incredible. It's like having a co-pilot because now you have live video, photos, and audio. So you could walk around doing your punch list, your dailies, and talk to it, and then have it create a report, or also look for things that might be not the code, or it's mind-blowing stuff.
Talk to me about accessing externally into somebody else's phone without their permission.
No, you have to ask permission. So everything is one SOC 2 certified and then permission based because we deal with governments all around the world. This stuff is safer than a phone call actually because it's all encrypted. But we had to go to extreme lengths to get everything certified to be able to do these type of interactions. And I mean, we're built on the same platforms as like Netflix, and it's incredibly safe.
No, I get that, but like the obvious question, or maybe it might be not an obvious question, but why would Apple not sort of license this access?
We'll see. I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
Do you
They
not
might.
think?
They might. I don't think so. I mean, they can't even get Siri right, but whatever. So
That's
you
true.
know, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if your experience with them has been excellent around this stuff, but it really hasn't been. In fact, these large companies are now looking towards other large companies, and you're seeing these huge deals being done
Yeah.
with companies like an OpenAI and things of that nature. So we're looking for best of breed, but we're one of the only few companies in the world that do live video, which is why you don't see it. We power some of the largest companies in the world. I power $1 billion product right now with our live video. So that's
Yeah.
why we bought this company, because doing live video is incredibly hard. So when like we had COVID come and NBA had the bubble, WWE wrestling had fans, we powered all of that.
Wow.
Right. So that's why the chief of police DC is knocking on our door, because these are kind of things that even the largest companies struggle with. We
Yeah.
are just trying to bolt together the best of breed to make these experiences happen. So I don't worry too much about Apple, because I don't think Apple's worried too much about construction. I
True.
don't think
Yeah.
they,
So
they really care.
I'm feeling sorry for some of the people that have come to the construction industry and recognized that 360 camera is required on construction sites in order to monitor traffic, monitor pedestrians, monitor safety, monitor waste in and out of the building, monitor what tonnage of product is coming in and out of the construction site. And in fairness, you could definitely see that there was a lift in the construction industry where these companies come in and went, brilliant, security, quality, safety, tick, 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 tick. And now all of a sudden, I'm talking to James Hatfield over the other side of the world, and he's going to blow them out of the markets completely.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's a place on the bus for everybody, right? I just want to get into what's in your pocket. Everyone, the best tool that's not being utilized on the job site right now are the 4 or 5 cameras in your team's pocket, right? So if I'm a senior technician, senior, you know, fill in the blank, and I need to talk to a junior tech, and they're asking me questions, now I can, from the comfort of my home or home office, I can leverage the power of my senior technicians on any job site to start looking through. We have laser guidance. We have, different things that they can walk around and help with that. And that is what we're trying to do, is operationalize things. Of course, record everything, because once you put drywall up, you bury a pipe. You want to document all of that. Do that as well. We store all these videos indefinitely. You can even bring in videos you had from a year ago and run it through AI and have it analyze different pieces of what might be going on. So it's we slot in more to the operational piece, and also just informing the client, right? I want to see the build as it progresses, right? So you can just put all these photos, videos in one central spot, share the project, and now the customer can watch the progress of the build, and it's very transparent. I think we're seeing a lot of this in other industries already happening, in automotive specifically. When you go to get your oil change, you go and you drop the car off, they take it around the back, then somebody comes out and says, "Hey, I want to do this, that, and the other. Pay me more." Well, now you're seeing in automotive when they're taking the car back, they're taking videos of all the work they're doing and sending you a link so you can see that they put air in, they changed the filter, they changed the oil. That level of transparency is becoming expected, and it'll be even more expected when people are spending 6, 7 figures on a build.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love that model. It's a very cool but comforting model. And shows you little pictures as well of the oil being changed in your car or whatever's being done in terms of the service. So you're really doing a connection between the customer, the contractor, the architect or designer team, and the principal contractor or the general contractor. So it's what you're trying to say is, let's be transparent across the board, and let's cut out mistakes at the point of where the project needs support, and let's collaboratively sort of work together in order to maintain the budget. So ultimately, your USP is, we can keep you on budget, and even better, we can probably take a few pounds off the budget by being more efficient.
That's it. And then you got an entire video record of everything done, right? When something breaks around the house, what do we all do? We go to YouTube, we watch a couple videos, and we try to fix it ourselves, because we're construction guys and we can fix anything, right? So
Yeah,
what we are visual, right? People don't want
yeah,
to read anymore. So now you've got everything video documented. Now, if you do
yeah,
need to convert it to written, like a process documentation or action items, or translate it to a different language, you can do all that as
yeah.
well. But I think having video to see, especially if you go back to the property, a year or two later, or you hand it off to the client saying, "Hey, here's a video documentation of your entire build for any future issues you may have." Now you can share that with your tradespeople.
Yeah, we had a guy on the show way back, and he was putting cameras on people's hard hats to sort of, yeah, but it wasn't to the detail. Now that it just goes to show you, that was about 8 months or over a year ago, and what you're talking about, it's like streets ahead of that sort of GoPro And where's GoPro today? Sure, it's a classic example of if you don't innovate, you're going to evaporate.
Yeah, and you need to meet people where they are, right? Asking a construction company to go buy a bunch of GoPros to put on everybody's helmet, that's a tough ask, right? And then you got to get your I I just know all of your team already has a smartphone in your pocket. I can deploy this and implement it today. We don't need to have 2 months of waiting for implementation. It's literally here today. If your guys can tap a text, they can use this stuff. It's not hard. It's all built like I always loved one click or one button solutions. I start my truck now with one button push. I start my power washer with one pull. I start my drill with one press. Everyone likes to pick on us, as the construction folks saying we're the knuckle draggers of technology. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're just not. That's not the right way to look at this. You can blame it on that because you can't get your technology in our hands, but you can't rip it out of our hands once we have it, right? So the problem is that you have these people coding that have never spent a day on a ladder. I always say they have soft hands, right? And you have engineers over engineering. So now you got to send my team through your 2-month university to learn your technology. Why don't you come on the job site and see how things really happen and what really goes down? And I think that's a lot of the missing whole is you don't have contractors building tools for contractors. You know what I mean? You've got engineers and coders building tools for contractors. And I think that's where we get a big disconnect in technology and trades.
Yeah, and we talk about training, and I have a bugbear myself. I have a problem with bringing intelligent people and talking intelligent language to them. And I don't know if that's even a word of the dictionary, but it's it nearly insults their intelligence in terms of bringing them in to talk to them about a certain topic that these guys might have 10, 15, 20 years experience, and they can tell you more about how to do this than yourself. And the beauty about what I see with your product is that you can turn that into clear training programs to train the future, and to create this conveyor belt of competent people that are being brought up to speed a lot quicker than probably the guys that had to go through the hard miles in order to learn these hard lessons.
Although I will say that even for the most advanced that have been through it, my favorite superhero is Iron Man, right? You got Tony Stark in the Iron Man suit and Jarvis. And, the guy in the Iron Man suit's pretty great, right? He built it, right? So what we're trying to do is also assist the most advanced, right? So as you're walking around the job site with your phone, you're talking to the video, telling it what you see, what you recommend. Here's this needs to go there. This is that. We're missing this. Hey, this isn't up to code. You just talk to it, and then it'll document all of that. But also the prompt can say, please let me know if I missed anything, because it's watching the video, watching the photos, listening to your language. And it can just, every now and then, we're not perfect. Even our most senior folks sometimes miss things. So having that co-pilot is what I like to call it, beside you is huge. And then of course, yes, click it for training, make a process document, a training document out of it. It can do all of that with one click. But it's this type of thinking that makes our most senior even better. We're just bringing up all the boats through this.
Brilliant. So why did you just focus on construction, or why did you go all in on construction with this?
Luck. So when I was reinventing the 911 phone call, I talked to one of our investors, and one of our investors happens to be really big in self-storage. They're in the Hall of Fame of self-storage. I didn't even know there was one. And I'm showing him everything. He's like, James, why don't you come reinvent self-storage? We manage all these different facilities with less people and doing remote and hybrid management. I said, I don't know a dang thing about self-storage. He's like, don't worry. So 3 years ago, go to Las Vegas. I meet all these smarty pants people, and I start looking through ways to enhance that. And what ended up happening, in my ignorance, I started calling removal and storage companies, right? And because it said storage, I'm like, so I got to call them. And they're like, no. We move boxes, man. And I was like, oh, but they're like, I talked to a guy who is one of the biggest thought leaders in the removal industry. And he's like, James, you're sitting on liquid gold. We're going to use this for virtual estimating, virtual service, virtual everything. Save me. The most expensive thing I do is throw people on planes, automobiles, and trains. And he was so right. And so it was happenstance. And then we just started.
Hello, Gaffers. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. We love every one of the guests that we have. But in order to bring on more great guests,
we'd love to build the channel with you. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and let's create a really great community where we bring in better and better guests for you to deliver great content and great pieces of information that you can take back into your business. Now, back to the podcast.
Listening to where it was the Next-Level Walkie-Talkie, right? So inevitably, we're going to end up in construction as well. And we've really enjoyed it. But it wasn't in the playbook. It's just, I do think though, because of my roots and my business partner's roots, that we were going to be there no matter what. We just didn't know it. We had to listen, and you just kind of come back to your tribe, as you said earlier. So, how do you go from, taking care of the NBA and the NFL to construction? I don't know. I couldn't have drawn that up on paper if I tried.
Or storage.
Storage. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, we have tons of storage companies all over the world using our stuff. It's crazy.
It's brilliant though. And is it more the quality element that focuses people's minds on the product? Like, I'm not trying to lessen some of the other things, like obviously health and safety, but is it more the quality that they're going after?
There's certain quality issues, right? When you're in a remote situation, when you're in a basement, when you're there, when you're trying to have someone look at what's going on. But again, it's literally the Next-Level Walkie-Talkie with your eyes. When you see what I can see, it changes everything. Trying to explain it to somebody over a phone is impossible, right?
Yeah.
Unless the person is super senior and they're like, oh yeah, I've heard this a million times. But even at that, like, if I can see it, I can diagnose and help that much faster. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but a live video is worth 10,000. So it's a lot of that. It's just, I can tap into any phone anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what the value is. There's instantly see what they see, and then record it and show the customer, or show insurance, or show the build team, or whatever you're going to do. You can do whatever you want with it. So I think it's just so multifaceted that, and it's so obvious. Like the chief of police, when we were done building it, he looks over his glasses. He's like, James, why didn't we already have all this? It seems so obvious to me. And I'm like, Chief, we all weren't carrying around 3 cameras to 5 cameras in our pocket. And now
that's
I
true.
think they issue these to you when you're born. You're like, welcome to the world. Here's your smartphone. I know all my kids want one. So it's the infrastructure wasn't there, but it is now. So let's use it, leverage it, and it's going to be it's the most powerful tool in your toolbox.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's also, from my own background is health and safety, but I also see the lone working element, where people have to work in isolated environments, or, we do work on wind farms and stuff like that, where sometimes guys get caught out where they might be on their own, and the phone is just, an amazing tool.
It's a lifeline. And now you can stream what you're seeing right to health, right, or for safety. Like, here's what's going on, and it's all recorded for future issues, or how can we prevent this in the future? Your wheels just start.
It does,
It's I showed this to a handyman yesterday. Guy has a handyman company. He emails me this morning. He's like, James, I was up at 1 a.m. because I couldn't stop thinking about all the ways that I can use this thing. Crazy. Like, you can, where you are right now, Gavin, I could send you a text and you could do a 360 view of your podcast studio. And there's a prompt that'll evaluate your podcast studio and all your equipment and give you a 2-page report. It'll blow your mind. I just did it yesterday with a guy who's on podcast for landscaping, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, dude,
I'm in, I'm all in.
My mind is blown.
It's all on black.
Yeah. Oh my God. But it's fun. It's really fun. It's like having these magic moments, and where technology just makes sense. And sometimes technology is just a pain. But
it's fun because you're helping people and there's a value.
Yeah.
Do you know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like, I'm just sick of people shoving stuff down people's throats that doesn't actually have an impact, or doesn't make their life bit better, and it doesn't actually have to cost a fortune in order to run it.
Yeah. Like, stuff's super affordable. And then here's the other thing. Like, when I had new equipment, when I brought on site, like when paint sprayers first came out, I'm definitely dating myself. What did we do with my team? We played with them. New tools. We play with tools. We're builders, of course. We don't want to read the instruction manual. I hate those things. So, like, we get in there. Well, the first 5 homes, it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. But after that, we were painting homes, and half the time the quality was twice as good, and I was loving it as an owner because my bottom line was looking great. And that's the thing. If anyone's thinking about AI right now, and if you're honest with yourself, you're just intimidated, you haven't looked into it, you haven't had the time, you're like, I don't even know if this stuff is magic beans. what I'd recommend is play with it. Go to, whatever you want, Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever your flavor is, it doesn't matter, and play with it. Just play with the new tool, and then your wheels will start turning, and from playing will come into working, and will come into your process, and will become like, I can't get rid of this stuff. I mean, that's what happened to me. I don't know if it happened to anyone else, but you start looking at tools. You look at a lawnmower when you're an entrepreneur, you're like, oh, there's lawn mowing business. You look at a backhoe, and you're like, all right, now I can clear things. Like, that's just how we are as entrepreneur builders. So do the same thing with AI. Go have fun, go play with it, and then you won't fear it at all. You'll come to, I think, fall in love.
No, I can 100% back that up, because we brought in an AI tool into our own business, and we've given it out free to all of our contractors and our clients. The clients are like, Jesus, where'd you get that? Like, that's so cool. And I was like, that was made like within a half a day from two guys in Serbia. Couple of $100 or whatever it was. And it's I think it's a case of, where can you go with this that's going to make an impact? And that's the first thing I would say to people is, where's your roadblocks in the business? And then go play with it and see, is there a fit between the roadblock and what the AI solution can do? And it leads you onto something else. Then you start getting excited and go, Jesus, if it does that, what if it can do this?
I tell people I'm only limited right now by my imagination. And we keep playing with it in ways that I'm like, I'm not advocating for this. But the other day, one of my colleagues had one of his parents and had them explain issues they were having health-wise. They went to the doctor the next day, and our system correctly diagnosed what the doctor said. Again, I'm not advocating for it. What I'm saying is that your imagination is the limitation. And the more you feed these prompts, the more data. So here's what's going to happen in the future. Just so everybody knows, and it's already starting to happen. AI is the big buzzword. You say AI, your market cap of your company. I'm an AI-powered construction company. All of a sudden, you're worth twice as much, right? So that's going to go away, meaning it's like saying, hey, I have electricity in my business. Okay, well, AI is will be saying you have electricity. So what's next? What's next is data, right? By now documenting everything with photos and video and information, because you have to feed that to the models, right? So there's a race now. Every day you're not documenting with video in your business, you're falling behind, because you want to create this data, moat in your business as fast as you possibly can. It'll make your business worth a ton more, and it'll enhance everything, because now you can analyze everything with that AI. So I would encourage everybody to start documentation as fast as you can. It's the next big thing. Data, content. Yes.
Tell me this, a couple of curveballs before we wrap up. Well, knowing what you know now, what would you do different, James Hatfield?
Man, nothing. I mean, I can't. I mean,
you're out the gap. You're out the gap.
If I did that, I would change my journey. You know what I mean? The fun is the journey and the discovery. Once you get something, isn't it like you always wanted to buy whatever, you buy it, and then after a week, you're on to the next thing. It's not. It's the journey. It's the hunt. I'm a hunter. You know what I mean? I'm a builder. I'm a technologist. I love the journey. So I don't want to tell my past self anything. Just go and make mistakes, go and blow it, go the wrong way, and you'll have good stories to tell.
Yeah, I resonate with that. I resonate 100% with that. In terms of risk, yes, don't put your family or yourself in harm's way, but go on the journey that makes you feel happy and gives you some sort of a sense of, I wouldn't say worthiness, but a sense of pride.
Yeah, and maybe tell some of my friends that have died, I love them one more time, or give them a hug. Maybe that's what I'd tell my previous self, because you can't ever see that coming, and that hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother
podcast. Favorite book or movie, or both?
Oh man, favorite movie. Golly, I do love a good Iron Man movie. He's such a builder, a technologist, a builder of builders, and then a high action. So I love that. I love Lord of the Rings and all that nerdy stuff, Star Wars, all that good stuff. Favorite book is recently I read, Making Money is Killing Your Business. I like Main Street Millionaire. I think that's a really good one. But the one that's been really resonating with me is Unreasonable Hospitality. Check that out. Add that to your construction business because
Put that in the
it
notes,
doesn't make
guys.
any sense, but it is super amazing. Unreasonable Hospitality. Check that book out. I'm loving it. I just finished it.
Deadly. Favorite holiday destination or go-to for James, as in a happy place?
I love a place here in the mountains called Lake Lure. It's where the big lake and mountains around it. There's nothing out there. I just put my feet up on the porch, rock in the rocking chair, and watch my kids swim in the lake. That's my happy place.
I love it. Listen, James, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. People want to contact you or get in touch with you. I'm sure you're open to conversations regardless. But what's the best way to do it? I know I'm on your website here, www.liveswitch.com. It's a pretty cool website, actually. And it goes through a lot of the stuff we've just spoke about. But in terms of getting in touch with you yourself, go for it.
Yeah, LinkedIn. Okay, go to LinkedIn. Look for James Hatfield, LiveSwitch, LiveSwitch. Reach out. I will reach back to you. Anyone that's ever reached out to me, I reach back out and make a point of it. So if you're listening to Gavin, but before you reach out to me, before you do anything, do one favor for me. Share about this show to someone, a friend, colleague, not even this one that Gavin and I, just anyone that Gavin's done, right? Don't be a dead end person, be a relay race, pay it forward, share with your industry. I'm sure Gavin doesn't do this to make millions and millions of dollars. He does this because he cares about the industry. He cares about education. And the least we can do for our industry is share it with our colleagues. So please do that before you even reach out.
I appreciate that. And, it's all about the collective. It's not about the individual. So, if we can help share our information to somebody, just one person, and that makes an impact for them, what else good is there in the world?
I agree.
James, thanks very much. We'd love to have you back on the show after you do the 1 billion exit.
Yeah. This one, I don't think I want to exit. I think this one I want to make
You're going to hang on.
Than the last company. I want to hang on.
Well, look, we'll definitely get you back. I'd love to have you back in the future. You're an inspiration, and it's a great story. Your career has been fantastic, really inspiring, and I'm sure there's a book in there somewhere in terms of your own stories. So,
will do. Bye. Cheers.
Hustro is the simplest construction management software. Track progress, control works, access docs, and analyze performance, all in one platform.
First, eliminate planning and tracking headaches. Set up work areas, schedule and assign tasks quickly with our intuitive interface. Track progress in under 15 seconds. Attach documentation, photos, and videos to keep crews aligned. The whole team can communicate with each other through Hustro or email, whichever feels more natural. But tracking is just the beginning. Next, standardize and simplify control and assurance. Automatically align inspections with ISO standards and internal procedures to ensure compliance. Connect inspections with issue tracking to identify and address problems quickly. Control quality, safety, and environmental compliance with observation and corrective action tracking. Activate your subcontractors through QR code submission forms and react faster than ever. And when you need information, access project data anytime, anywhere. 1 second drawing load to instantly open any blueprint. Smart file organization to help you find the correct document quickly and easily. Even without an internet signal, you can still access schematics, plans, and specifications. This multi-device power and our Hustro cloud drive keep you coordinated everywhere. Now, here's where it gets powerful. You can transform your project's data into results. Turn issues into actions with instant insights that spot critical problems before they escalate. Create custom reports in PDF, Excel, or CSV format. Start testing Hustro for free today